Hello, people with ears and eyes, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team.
That's offensive to people that don't have eyes and or ears.
Hello to people that have or don't have ears and eyes, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team.
Then again, if they don't have eyes or ears, then they probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast
Or
because
watching
they wouldn't be able.
That's also why I was like,
somehow
wait a second, hold
stumbled
on.
their way here, I guess. But you know.
Anyway, my name's Tyler Scheid. I'm the one with the master's degree, the one who's studied sports, the one who's played sports, the one who's been around sports and been the sportsman of the sports sorts, joined by my co-host,
I've played sports.
Markiplier.
I've played sports.
The man who's never done a sport, never seen a sport, never expected a sport in his entire life, never done any sportliness of sportness.
I sported really hard and really good in school. I sported so good. I threw rocks.
Real far?
Well, not real far. Let's be honest. Not that far. So kind of average far, you know. I average far.
I don't know why, but in my head, I pictured not what you're actually describing, but you as a little kid throwing rocks at other little kids. That's what I pictured.
That's what I did. Tried to do anyway. Just trip the runners up while they're going around the track, you know.
Try and skip them across the pond and hit somebody's foot right at the right moment.
Oh, I love the Milford Pond. You remember the Milford Pond?
The Milford Pond.
Oh, I actually drove by the high school when I was visiting town.
It's
just a
so
few weeks.
different.
The junior high is like getting a huge expansion behind it.
Wait, really?
Didn't you see that?
No.
Oh, there's a whole like it looks like an apartment block that's going up. It's huge, gigantic building going up right behind where the junior high is, where the sports field usually is, where the wrestling room used to be.
Oh,
that's all gone, and it was a huge building going.
I wonder
up there.
where they practice wrestling now then. Or did they get rid of wrestling? Like they got rid of water polo. Did you know they got rid of water polo?
They got rid of water polo?
The most successful program in all of our high school's history, and they canned it.
Why?
Funding. Water polo is not expensive.
They already have a pool.
It's also extremely cheap. It's not an expensive sport. They have all the equipment.
What the hell?
They blamed it on the levy not being passed, which, by the way, the levy is how schools are funded in Ohio. It's a voting measure. It's done by property taxes and stuff. And it's been voted unconstitutional by the Ohio Constitution for literally since we've been born. And yet they still fund the schools that way.
Well, I think it's always so dumb because when I was growing up, I always heard about the levies and they would always fail because everyone's like, I want to pay more. And then turn around and be like, why aren't they providing for our kids?
Yeah.
It's just like, well... But also there's a lot of people that don't have kids in the school system. That, you know,
and that's the reason why it usually doesn't pass is because there's so many people who live within the school district that don't have kids or their kids have finished college and like, I don't want to pay more. My kids aren't taking advantage of this.
Yeah. I don't get why people want stupid people.
Well, I know why government wants stupid people, but I know. It's depressing.
Hey, look, you don't have to count on anyone else to make you stupid. You can make yourself stupid by listening to this podcast. Here's a sponsor.
Which one do you think drops people's IQs more? Go my favorite sports team or Distractable?
Distractable by far. Is that a question? By far. This one we're trying to teach people something. There's no pretending over there that that's happening. Those deranged maniacs over there, they're just drooling every episode. It's terrible. Truly a tragedy.
Well, I know this last episode that aired, the newest one hasn't aired yet, but we had a few lowbrow. My brain was on hiatus moments. I don't know why my brain that day was just full chaos mode.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what happens when... Well, that was when we were filming remote, right? So it was like a last minute. Wasn't that?
Oh, yeah,
it was like
remote.
Last minute and no time to prepare, no warm up. So, yeah, it's all right. Anyway, speaking of which, here's the Jacuzzas. From Tom Mercury Jr. said, Again! Guys, I know you called yourselves out, but that shouldn't save you from being called out. The Irish sports episode was wildly ill-prepared. I'm sure many listeners... Now, let me say something. I come into each episode exactly as prepared as I did. I am so consistent in my preparedness in that I'm not prepared for anything because I didn't do any research. So I don't know why you're lumping me in with this ill-prepared
whoa.
loser over here.
Whoa.
It's Not on me.
I just want to say it was chaotic and there was a lot of jokes in the middle and failure of pronunciations. But we do that for every language and even English. I stumble across English all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But in my defense of this one, we did touch on the key points of both of those sports. Go from point A to point B in as few bowls or throws as possible following the course. That's the basics of it. That's literally the sport. One of them has a hurley where you hit the schleiter or sloter.
Well, there's another accused about the pronunciation of that, so I should have done that first.
You hit that ball far and follow the path, which was like over a mountain and to like another town. It's like it's a winding path. It's more than one direction. And then the other one was bowl the ball on the road, follow the road to get to the point that's the finish line as few throws as possible.
Yeah, in reality, these sports, not really complex. There's only so much for Baby Mark to die in doing this, so I'm not 100% sure that there was anything left out. But let me finish this. Yeah. I'm sure many listeners, like myself, enjoy listening to you two riff off each other, and that's what makes this podcast good. But for actual Leprechaun's sake, at least understand the premise of the topic and the basics of the sport you were going to talk about. Was this as bad as the hockey primer? Yes, it was. Now, that's making assumptions that the hockey primer was bad. Now, I'm saying here, that primer has provided us with endless amounts of joy over the year. Oh, man. So, for me anyway, to bring this up over and over and over, that, hockey, we haven't done the hockey. Very fun. So, I don't know about you, but I think that's a legendary episode.
I think it's a legendary episode. I think it's one of our top episodes ever, to the point to where we got to do a 2.0 and there's a plan for a 3.0 and even maybe a 4.0. There's a plan?
What? How bad are you planning to make the 3.0 that you're already planning 4.0? I don't know about that, man.
Listen, I always expect the hockey fans are going to be angry with me. So I'm always prepared for a step ahead of them because that's strategy in sports. You got to think about your opponent's next move and then be prepared to go off of that.
Exactly. Anyway, so that's basically what they had to say about that. And then there's another person, M3LTER, Melter, said, sir, it's a bit mental to go into an episode knowing you're going to have to pronounce words in another language and not have the pronunciation for those words noted down. Release the script to let us translate it. Here's a breakdown. Slither. Pronounced like slither. I doubt that.
I literally, hold on. In that episode, I had pronunciation videos that I played. What are they coming at me for?
I don't know. Slither.
It's not.
Slither.
There's also multiple dialects within each language.
Slither.
I played it. I played multiple dialects in that episode on video, and then we tried to repeat them. That's literally what happened.
The stick is the hurl. I've just heard Mark remind Tyler of this.
The hurley. Yes.
It says hurl.
Well, it's called the hurley.
Well, they said hurl.
Well, where I looked up, it was hurley. And my brain was chaos mode, so I was confusing everything that episode. I was the uncertain host, so it became my shtick.
Okay, all right. The phrase about Dundalk, the anglicized name for the place, is other than common, which is literally just come on, means club, and og, which is og, means young, and to other. Or whatever Mark said. What do you mean? This is not helpful. I'm literally reading this word for word. This is what it is. It's not me rambling. Which is literally just come on, parentheses, means club, and quote, og, which is oga, parentheses, means young, and ta'ather, or whatever Mark said. The T at the start is a grammatical rule of the Irish language to make pronunciation flow better, but that's why it's not capitalized. And gablan, is that what they said? That would be a goal on. What the fuck? That's just a place Armagh is pronounced Armagh with the emphasis. I think it's important to note that we're at the end of the Sachin Gaelic, a week where we celebrate. Goreb Mayth, Agat, Tyler, Agus, Mark, Agus, Lafhail, Padraig, Zonadaib. P.S. Cover Gaelic next. That's not a sport. Some people listen to this think they just had a stroke. He's speaking, but I
honestly was concerned for your health.
That's what it was. Either I casted a spell or I don't know.
I mean, the crazier part is I'm trying to find where they posted it, but our actual researcher in the field studied Gaelic as a part of their degree at some point. And they were talking about it, and they said, and some even people from in the comments on Spotify and in the Reddit even were like, I'm Irish and I can't even pronounce half of this stuff. I understand your point. You were just celebrating the heritage and all of that. Didn't know that was happening to begin with. But the biggest thing is we're equal opportunity mispronunciers. We're pioneers of the mispronunciations. And we do it even with our own language. So
well, speak for yourself.
It's not meant to be offensive. It's literally we tried.
I never try, and I make a point of that every week. I come in here and not try. That's specifically what I do.
There are occasional times that you have tried.
No, when? You can't name one.
The Korean sports episode.
No, never. Case closed. Anyway, moving on. So today is going to be a slightly different.
Yes.
We're just doing news.
We are just doing news again. We did a news episode 2 weeks ago.
Well, it turns out there's more news.
There's always news.
There's always news. And as opposed to like recording 2 in a day and then having some of it be topical and some of it not, we're just going to do it all right here and now.
Yeah. So first news story.
I'm
going to take the lead on this.
Okay.
Our Cincinnati Bengals.
I heard about this.
Have re-signed their best receivers, becoming the highest paid non-quarterback is Jamar Chase, and being the highest paid wide receiver 2 in NFL history is T. Higgins.
Which is funny because just the other week when we were talking, I had talked about how, I forget his name, but he had previously the highest non-quarterback pay. At
Myles Garrett.
Myles
Garrett. Cleveland Browns.
I knew that. And then he was paid $160 million over a 4-year contract with $123.5 million guaranteed. And the new one for one of the Cincinnati Bengals is $160.5, or is it 161?
Abbreviated as $161 million.
161.
They usually round up just for article's sake. With $112 million guaranteed.
So less guaranteed, but more upfront. I bet they just wanted to get that squeak up there of the most paid non-quarterback, which is great, I guess.
He just won the Triple Crown, which is very rare.
Isn't that
in
a
football.
horse race?
Well, the Triple Crown is a part of a horse racing thing, but there's
he just won the Triple Crown.
There's multiple ways to get the Triple Crown. The Triple Crown in football, as far as a receiver goes, means you had the most receptions, the most yards, and the most touchdowns in a season, all first in each of those categories is how you get the Triple Crown. There's also a Triple Crown in baseball, which is batting average, I think it's home runs, and one other thing. I forget the exact stats for the batting Triple Crown, but that exists as well. RBIs, maybe? Maybe it's not home runs. Maybe it's batting average, RBIs, and on-base percentage. Those might be the 3. And then T. Higgins signed a 4-year, $115 million deal.
Right.
That is guaranteed for the first 2 years. So he's guaranteed that contract for the first 2 years. Huge. Chase's average salary, by the way, is $40.25 million per year, which is an NFL record for highest average salary.
How much does it cost for the entire Bengals football team? What is all their salaries combined?
Let me just look at the salary cap currently.
Oh, is there like some team salary cap?
Yeah. So the salary cap for 2025, base salary cap is $279 million. Yeah, $279,200,000. It's expected to increase for 2026 to $295 million, $295
per year.
half.
That's for the whole team's salary.
Yes, that's the max you can spend.
And 40 of that is going to one player.
So there's ways to defer that.
Yeah.
So it's how you front load, how much are signing bonuses. There's different ways to structure a contract to get to work the salary cap in your favor. So
that's so much salary.
Yeah.
So much salary.
So currently for 2025, the Bengals have spent $252,962,000 of their salary cap. So they have $20 million left, and then they have $6 million in dead money, which is money that's just they have to pay, and they no longer hold the players or have the players because they released players who had guaranteed contracts and different stuff like that. So their effective cap space currently is around somewhere between $23 and $26 million.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Meanwhile, the Buccaneers are above the cap by over $10 million currently. And they're the only team above the cap, which there's a penalty for that, but I forget what it is.
There's a penalty, so it's not above the cap. It's just even more above the cap because it's like they could be above the cap, but if they pay more. So it's not punishing them.
It does punish them. I don't remember exactly what it is. I think it should be if you're above the cap, you're not allowed to play.
All right. Well, you got your news out of the way, which means it's time for my news, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to go back and forth. I've got quite a bit here, but I'm not sure where to start. Should I start at the bottom of the list or the top of the list? I'll start at the bottom.
Start in the middle. Be different.
Okay. All right. Deshaun Watson's $2.5 million engagement ring goes viral. Another Cleveland Browns news.
Deshaun Watson, the quarterback that everybody cheered him getting hurt, has the history of sexual allegations and horrible things done to masseuses that were settled in court. And now people are hyping up his engagement ring. What does his engagement ring look like?
I have no idea. This is actually such a strange story to come out of the publication I have, because this one is from the Times of India. India Times is reporting this. I'm not sure if they're just up to date on everything or if it's more
worth at least $2 million.
Yeah, it says 20 carat diamond ring, custom design sparkler, took 7 months. I was going to skip over the story, but this is dead in the middle. This is in the middle of my holy shit. Tyler just pulled up a picture of this. That's just all diamond.
It literally is just diamond.
That's so ugly. That's so hideously ugly. Look, I'm sorry. That's horrendously ugly.
Just thinking about how big that is on your finger and how that's just a clunker, dude.
It's so ugly. It's just all it is. And I get it. Oh yeah, lots of diamonds, yada yada. We all know diamonds are they're not as expensive as they shouldn't be as expensive as they are. They're not rare. They can be made. And it's just that's hideous, though. It's jewelry can be put in a way that's it's very pretty, but that is fucking hideous. I'm sorry, everyone look up this. Tell me I'm wrong. And sure, yeah, 2.5 million, however much it's valued, whatever. That's egregious by itself. But you would think that if you had that, it would at least be pretty.
That's massive.
It's
oh, now there's a picture of the ring. That's a close up of the ring.
It looks like a ring pop.
It does. It's one of those invisible ring pops. It's the mystery flavor.
Yeah, and hey, if this is her taste in rings, that's fine. But I swear I've seen a novelty version of that ring made out of cubic zirconium. That's probably $200. I think, maybe I'm just...
just looking at that does not look pretty to me.
It doesn't. Yeah. I'm probably being too harsh, and I know some people's styles are this, but there's no elegance to that. It is just big rock with smaller big rocks in a ring shape. That's all it is.
To me, it's like the Cybertruck. It's just to stand out and be different and just be big and expensive. It's I have lots of money.
That is exactly what that is. Yeah, when you get a ring like that, that is just for money. Anyway.
All right, let's do basketball.
Mm-hmm.
All right. A lot of people until recently didn't know the Dream Team of 1992 had ever lost a game. It was recently revealed that Grant Hill, who is an NBA star now, and a bunch of college kids actually beat the Dream Team.
Uh-huh.
How did this happen? 33 years ago, 7-time NBA All-Star Grant Hill took part in a basketball game, which was really a tune-up game for the Dream Team, getting them prepped, getting a workout, having them learn to play together. However, this game was special. At the time, Grant Hill wasn't an NBA star. He was just a college basketball player.
Uh-huh.
And he and 7 other college players played a game against the 1992 U.S. men's Olympic basketball team, which included stars Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird.
Uh-huh.
This team, today and forever known as the Dream Team. Incredibly, the college team defeated this team, and for over 30 years, they weren't allowed to tell anyone. I imagine there was an NDA signed for even playing in the game itself.
Uh-huh.
And the coach of the Dream Team was worried about how the press would react to their defeat because there was so much hype about this team being the team that could never be beaten. But the players would talk about it to each other behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in mid-February, recently, a documentary called We Beat the Dream Team was released and finally spilled the decades-old secret.
I don't think that this is unbelievable.
I don't think so either.
Because the guy is a 7-time All-Star.
Now, yes.
Now. So clearly incredibly skilled. If we think about it, LeBron James was recruited to the NBA fresh out of high school. So just because it's like college level players doesn't mean that they're not good. You've got a team that at the very beginning probably had not had the cohesion and didn't know how to play together and didn't know like all the plays to do. And that's why they were doing this in the first place. And they probably found the best college team to warm up against because it was like, you need at least some kind of a challenge.
Or they got the best college players and actually had them like practice together and develop a cohesive group. And also those NBA stars, the NBA game is just so vastly different than the college game. And a lot of people hype up the NBA game, and we're going to do an actual NBA primer when the playoffs kick off.
Yeah. We've done an NBA primer.
We've done a college basketball primer.
Oh, what's the difference?
I'll get into it. We'll talk about the history. And
you got to do that, not the hockey thing. You got to ever talk about NFL, the AFL, the Canada Football League, Australia
We'll get
Football
all those. We'll do that.
God.
Listen.
I'm listening.
It's important.
I'm listening.
And so, like, the way that they would probably impose this is a lot of these NBA stars generally are known more offensively than defensively. Kobe Bryant is one of the rare exceptions of having stellar defense. Michael Jordan was the same way, Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of NBA stars become NBA stars because they can score the big points. And so that was one of the biggest things. And the thing between college athletes and NBA stars, there's a level of hustle that college players have that might be a bit different than what NBA players going into this game would be. It's also the mentality that maybe the NBA team came in and they're like, oh, we're just going to trounce over them. And then the college players showed up and put everything out. So it's like,
of course, because the dream team wouldn't have been trying to play their best. They're just warming up.
At least not at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And underestimate the college team because it's like, oh, we're NBA stars.
Mm-hmm. Or it's like, yeah, let them have fun. Let them have one of these. But honestly, it probably wasn't a gimme. It was probably just a combination of those things. So, yeah, no, I believe it fully. And yeah, it's probably best that they didn't say that. They would have been ripped to shreds in the news.
Yeah.
They would have been ripped apart.
Yeah, and it would have really affected the ego and everything going into the Olympics about the hype of the Dream Team. It would have broken that storyline. So, but really cool thing. Good documentary if you can find it. I don't remember where it's posted, but it's called We Beat the Dream Team.
I bet you don't have one of these in international news for all the people listening around the world. The Champions League quarterfinals set after thriller and upsets. Europe's premier soccer competition produced high drama as the UEFA Champions League quarterfinal matchups were finalized. Real Madrid edged city rivals Atletico Madrid in a penalty shootout after Atletico's 1-0 second leg win left their round of 16 tie 2-2 on aggregate. What do those words mean? I don't know. I'm just reading them. Madrid, the defending champion, had already knocked out Manchester City in a new knockout playoff round.
I'm assuming Madrid is Real Madrid, not Atletico
Yeah,
Madrid.
I believe we're talking about Real Madrid here.
Okay.
And I believe we talked about that exact match last time in the news episodes. Their reward is a blockbuster quarterfinal against Arsenal, who defeated PSV Eindhoven to advance. German team? Possibly. On the other side of the bracket, Paris Saint-Germain eliminated top-seeded Liverpool and will face tournament dark horse Aston Villa. What? This is just naming people. In the quarters. Elsewhere, Barcelona will meet Borussia Dortmund after Dortmund's comeback over Lille. There are so many soccer teams, football teams. I have no idea. And I know
there's so many different divisions too.
Yeah. While Bayern Munich clashes with Inter Milan in the remaining tie, the stage is set for a compelling last 8 with several giants and a few surprise contenders vying for European glory. Yeah, trying to dip my toes into the international stuff. And by dip my toes, I mean read articles word for word without understanding anything.
Second most watched football tournament in the world after the FIFA World Cup, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, it expanded to 8 teams in 1980, expanded to 16 teams in 1996, and expanded to 24 teams in 2007. Qualifying. Matches played in most recent average goal average number of scores. I'm trying to see if there's a league like limit. Netherlands and France. Why is it just listing countries? That's what you're reading is not listing countries.
I mean, it's just, I didn't get the countries either. It was just team names, and some of them had the country in them. And I apologize if I got any of that incorrect, because honestly, I was just reading. I didn't know what words was a team and what word was not.
Was this men's or women's?
Probably men's. I hate to be presumptive about it, but just to clue it in, the UEFA will share almost 2.5 billion euros, equivalent to $2.7 billion, total prize money among the 36 Champion League team. Holy shit.
Yeah.
2.7 billion to split between 36 teams in prize money? That's astonishing. That's crazy. Each quarterfinalist will get 12.5 million euros. A place in the semifinals pays an extra 15 million on top of the 12.5 that they get for getting to the quarterfinals. So every stage they go further is just dosh.
Is this the under 21 championship?
I don't know. That's all I see is from ESPN.com, just Champions League quarterfinals information. Next matches, if it's the 18th, would be April 8th. You've got Bayern versus Inter, Arsenal versus Real Madrid, Barcelona versus Dortmund, PSG versus Aston Villa. And then the other leg of that is a mix-up of those. Or no, it's the same ones, just in reverse order. Aston Villa versus PSG, Dortmund, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Inter, and Bayern. And then the semifinals, obviously, TBD. But that's April 29th, and then semifinal leg 2, May 6th. So those are a week apart, whereas everything's a week apart. The second leg is a week apart. So then the final is on May 31st. This is a long period of football.
Lots of games.
That's so many games, especially like leading up to it, because you got all these teams going after it all across the world. Whoa, match day 7 of 8. I'm going back in time. This was just nonstop. It's like if the Super Bowl lasted for, oh my God, it's
there
so
it
long.
is.
It's been going on for 6 months.
It's the Champions League.
They started qualifying for this shit last July. July 16th is when the first qualifying match is. Here we are in March, and it's going to end May 31st, which means it just goes right back around to qualifying again. That's so many games.
Yep.
Holy shit. No wonder it's making money.
I now have the bracket.
Woo.
You saw Real Madrid and Man City here, and this is where Atletico beat Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Wait, but why does Real Madrid? Oh, because what?
Because they probably had 4. I don't understand how the scoring works, but it seems like they had 4 points total. So even if they won, because they had 3 to 1 win, I don't know.
Well, usually this means shootout. Real Madrid won 2-1. Oh, they played 2 games, the first leg and the second game.
I see.
So, and then Real Madrid won on penalties, and based on points,
because they would have scored.
They would have scored
tied
the same,
right? They
with
tied
this 1-0.
there.
So then the shootout determined the victor.
Okay, cool.
That's how that managed. So
I
that's
see.
the same thing that happened with Liverpool.
Which, if I had paid attention to what I read before, it would have been like a penalty shootout. Is how they did it, and it was right there in the first thing I read.
Well, my thing is,
forgot.
The only time I think of penalty shootouts is in after a match when you're tied.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, because of the way they do this, is you play multiple games, and then you have to determine based on the points after that, and if they're tied in goals, then they have a penalty shootout.
This is why what I was saying didn't make sense to me now, but now it does. And we're all learning sport, because what I read was Real Madrid edged city rivals Atletico Madrid in a penalty shootout after Atletico's 1-0 second leg win, that's one phrase, left their round of 16 tie 2-2 on aggregate. That's where they were tied.
That's what
to
the
2
aggregate
points.
makes sense.
Then they did a shootout, and that's what the penalty shootout is. I got it.
Now my question is, are they playing back-to-back games, or are these on different days?
They're on different days.
Okay.
So those are about a week apart.
Cool. Okay. Now we understand how that works.
Hey, we're all learning.
That's not something I would expect, because when I think of a bracket, it's one game. Unless it's like baseball or softball where they play a series, and then it's whoever wins the series, best of 5 or something.
It's interesting to go by the points.
Yeah.
By only the points. But I guess because football is different, football is different, is because the clock never stops. So it's not like it goes down to any kind of playing with time. It's just like, this is how much time you have. So it's like, this is how much score you did in 2 90-minute sessions, right? And so that makes a lot more sense.
But they do have additional time because it's based on how much stop it. Like, it's the one thing about soccer that bothers me. They could stop the clock when the ball goes out of bounds and then the throw-in goes in, but they stay with the tradition of the official makes a judgment of how much stoppage time was there when the ball wasn't in play. Oh, 4 minutes? Add 4 more minutes. So that's how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we want to talk Kobe Bryant or do we want to talk the less fun news?
Roll the dice, man. It's up to you.
All right, let's start with the less fun news. Kansas' Zeke Mayo shows screenshots of hateful messages after their loss to Texas Tech. Now, this is something that unfortunately happens all across America, and a lot of people neglect and believe doesn't exist anymore, and that's racism. So Kansas guard Zeke Mayo shared screenshots of racist, hateful messages he received following his poor performance in a loss to Texas Tech in mid-February. After sharing his messages on Twitter, his account was deactivated. I don't know if that was because it was shut down or he deleted his account. There's no information about that. But the biggest thing is how much, if athletes don't perform at a high level, people will attack them. And if you happen to be of a minority or a different color, they will go toward the throat, towards racist, really hateful, heinous comments. And I'm sure very much so that happens very much to female athletes as well.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing is how important it is to acknowledge the fact that this still exists and how much we need to completely condemn it. This should not be common things. This should never happen in the state of the world that we live in today. People are people. It doesn't matter what race, creed, gender identity, anything, sexual orientation, nobody should receive that kind of hate. Yeah. Now, there are always going to be bad seeds, but we need to make sure that people know this is not okay. Coach Bill Self and athletic director Travis Goff condemned the post and wrote their own messages in support of their player in Mayo. These aren't Jayhawks. They're not ours, because a lot of times these were fans of Kansas. Driven by gambling and hate, they've never competed a day in their life. To Zeke and all our guys, the Jayhawk family loves you and will always ride with you through thick and thin. Coach Self wrote, any criticism about the team should be directed at me. I'm the head coach.
It's the unfortunate thing, and it's becoming less anonymous these days, but I was going to say it's the unfortunate thing about the anonymity of the internet. And also just like people don't think it has any kind of, actual effect out there. And it's just so silly to see just any excuse to try to attack someone,
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point? What is the point of any of that?
The worst part is the more that it's shown, the more people feel like they can do it too, if they have those hidden characteristics of just hate. And so as more and more stuff comes out and more stuff appears in the media of people doing this without it being completely condemned and punished and people getting their comeuppance, more people are going to feel, what's the word? Vindicated.
Yeah.
In their way of thinking. And so this is something that needs to be addressed. And one of the biggest things that brought this up too is the emotions that gambling and losing money causes, which causes more hate on players when bad things happen, when the game doesn't turn out the way that people want. It's not just emotions of I'm a fan. Oh, I just lost my savings. And that's a problem.
Some people probably think that I'm a very passive guy. I love to think about the opportunities to punch someone in the face. I really, really relish, and I've gotten really close a few times, and every time I'm just like, I fucking can't wait to have the excuse to fucking fight you. And it's part of me that I've fought and but isn't there something, I'm not trying to condone violence, but maybe I am, who knows? Isn't there something where there was a Buzz Aldrin, right? He was accosted on the street by someone who was like denying the moon landing. And I remember the video, and he was like, can you he said very clearly, can you get away from me? This guy's still getting in his face saying like, you're a liar. He decked him right in the face. And it was justified because he was literally antagonized. And there's something about legally in the law, and there's protection against that, or at least it can be understood, because as there are freedoms, but also like in a lawsuit, heavy country, it can be difficult about that. But man, some people just need to be punched in the face. Some people really need to be punched very hard in the face.
They need a rude awakening, and sometimes that's the only way people get it.
Yeah, a lot of people think, in terms of pacifism, and I'm fine with that to an extent. But also, I am totally fine with punching someone in the face that deserves to be punched in the face. And that discretion of who deserves to be punched in the face is probably the one being attacked by the face punchable person. It's just one of those things where the internet, even if it wasn't anonymized, because you see it on Facebook with people and their names and addresses on their profile, they're still attacking people nonstop.
Well, that's one of the things. There's people that make sure that people get figured out who they are when they do horrible things. The only problem with that, there are instances where people see somebody who's similar and think they're that person, and then it causes a whole attack on the wrong person.
Yeah.
And so as much as I agree with you that there are some people that really deserve to be punched in the face. Mm-hmm. And I've been one of those people at times. I know that for a fact.
I have too. Yeah, sure.
There also needs to make sure that that's the right person. And that's hard to do when you're trying to just find somebody based on an image or a video or their voice. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But that's literally why the judicial system is trying to design a system in which people don't get wrongly persecuted. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not perfect. It's most definitely not perfect. But there's attempts.
We need the AI overlord to tell us what's fair and not fair. We need to send out punch passes. You get one punch pass.
It's a punch card.
Exactly.
Literally.
And it's like it's your punch card and you get to use it once per year. And you don't get to stack it. It doesn't roll over. You get one per year. So December 31st, everyone's got to use their punch. Wham!
This is like The Purge, but less murderous and horrible crimes.
Yeah, I mean, you can still kill someone with a good punch, but it's harder, but man, you just need to be able to get one. Just like me and Amy, we talked about.
Except Nazis. You can unlimited punching of Nazis.
Yes, please punch your local Nazi today. Thank you. And go now. My heart goes out to you to get those Nazis punched. Amy and I, we have this thing also, like everyone, it's probably not a great idea, but everyone should get one wee-woo card where you get to put an alert light on your roof and avoid traffic once. You get one wee-woo. You get one wee-woo.
One wee-woo. It is your turn.
There's so many more pieces of news that I have here. We haven't gotten close.
All right, speed run them. Shoot them.
Quick one. 76ers lose Embiid and Paul George for the season.
They're 2-star players that are the highest paid on their team.
Mm-hmm. Shut down both Joel and Paul for the remainder of the season due to injuries. That's unfortunate. Paul George, who had just signed a 4-year, $212 million deal in Philly last summer, he managed just 41 games. That's a lot of games. Before groin and knee injuries sent him to the sideline. 34-year-old George received injections to his adductor and knee this week, but was ruled out after setbacks. Embiid, Sixers superstar center and former MVP, had already been dealing with lingering issues. We also have Coach J.B. Bickerstaff's fiery rant blasts NBA officiating.
I will say for those injuries, there are 82 regular season games in the NBA season per team. So he paid half the season.
I gotcha. So this is what the coach of the Detroit Pistons delivered a viral post-game rant condemning NBA referees after a contentious loss to Oklahoma City. So I'm not sure how much public outcry there is for officiating, but this was right at the press conference. Bickerstaff's crew was hit with 5 technical fouls in one quarter, including an ejection of Cade Cunningham, and the coach didn't hold back. Quote, "I'm disgusted by the way that game was officiated. The level of disrespect was above and beyond," Bickerstaff fumed to media. He cited a sequence where a Thunder player tripped on a teammate, mistaken for a hostile act by Detroit, and an opposing elbow to a Piston went unreviewed. Bickerstaff slammed the disrespect shown to his players and vowed not to, quote, "allow our guys to be treated that way," end quote. The fist-pounding tirade, which quickly spread across sports outlets, highlights mounting frustrations with officiating consistency this season. Not just in the NBA either.
Yeah, I mean, NFL, all over the place, which is crazy because, believe it or not, years and years ago, NBA officials got fired and rightfully prosecuted for fixing games as they were betting on them. There was a betting scheme that was going on years ago.
And would never happen again, though.
Involving NBA officials.
Could never happen, no.
Couldn't. Now that betting's legal and all level.
2025, the most honorable year of humanity?
Yeah. Where gambling's rampaging up.
Yeah.
You know, it never could happen again.
Yeah. Easy way to identify Nazis to punch. Usually they have a swastika. Punch them.
This is our general announcement.
Just in case everyone's wondering, like, how do I identify with a Nazi? Well, if they're making any kind of hand gesture.
A specific one.
A specific type of hand gesture.
You know, my heart goes out to you.
Oh, man. You can really point them out. They're over there.
Moving on.
You got any more? I got a few more.
No, I'm letting you speed run.
Tracy Morgan courtside incident halts Knicks game. Did you see this one?
Oh, Tracy Morgan.
He fell ill on the sidelines of a Knicks Heat game. Seated courtside, Morgan vomited on the court, forcing an abrupt stoppage. As MSG staff cleaned up the mess, the game was delayed over 10 minutes in the third quarter due to the unexpected interruption. Morgan later assured fans he's okay, explaining that food poisoning was to blame for the incident. From his hospital bed, he even joked on Instagram that Knicks are now 1-0 when I throw up on the court. He might even break it out again in the playoffs.
He's a true Knicks fan. He's making sure he does everything he can to push the luck to the category. It's like when Wade made me lay on top of the chair and UC ended up beating Pittsburgh and going in to the college football championships.
There you have it. It's right there. And as someone who has had food poisoning before, I'm sure many of you have as well. It's sometimes violent and unexpected, like the time that I ate week-old uncovered meatloaf, and I woke up in the middle and I threw up so hard I burst blood vessels in my eyes.
Or that time when you had way too much celery because you accidentally bought like 80 stalks of celery instead of 80 sticks of celery, and you ate celery a long time.
I don't remember.
It wasn't vomiting. It was the other end.
Oh yeah, that's also the sudden influx of fiber was not good for me.
Yeah.
I've got a few more. Let's see. Aaron Rodgers' future. Vikings rumors swirl. NFL offseason quarterback carousel continues to spin around Aaron Rodgers. The 41-year-old former MVP is now a free agent after one season with the Jets, and reports suggest Rodgers has his eye on the Minnesota Vikings as a landing spot. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Rodgers has resisted overtures from teams like the Steelers and Giants, hoping Minnesota will make an offer.
It's because Minnesota has a much better team, a better receiving core, better defense. The Giants, however, are still looking for a quarterback, and the main three that are being talked about right now are Joe Flacco, former Ravens hero, won multiple Super Bowls with the Baltimore Ravens, Russell Wilson, who is currently the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Aaron Rodgers. Those are the three quarterbacks that are currently being considered by most teams that need a quarterback that aren't high in the draft.
All right. And one thing that we definitely couldn't not talk about because it was part of the baseball episode that we had before, Ohtani leads Dodgers to historic opening day in Tokyo.
So they won. The game hadn't happened the last time we talked. So
yeah, absolutely. And they didn't just win. Los Angeles Dodgers opened the MLB season in Tokyo, as we discussed before, with a 4-1 victory over the Chicago Cubs. Essentially a home game for superstar Shohei Ohtani in his native Japan. He had 2 hits and scored twice in the season opener. The game was historic, featuring 5 Japanese players, the most ever in an MLB opener in Japan, and the first opening day matchup of 2 Japanese starting pitchers. The festive sellout crowd packed the Tokyo Dome with Ohtani jerseys dominating to witnesses the reigning AL MVP, American League MVP, kick off the Dodgers title defense in memorable fashion. Who's the other Japanese starting pitcher? Okay, this says Justin Steele's a current one. Did they start another one? Like
that's what I'm wondering. Shota in manga in Imanaga.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
No, Yamamoto. Isn't he Dodgers though? He's not Cubs.
So wait, Ohtani's Dodgers.
Yamamoto is Dodgers pitcher.
Okay, but isn't Ohtani Dodgers pitcher as well?
I don't know if he's officially pitching yet, but Ohtani is a multifaceted player that is a...
Oh, sorry. I'm stupid. Yamamoto started pitching for the Dodgers. Shota Imanaga started for the Cubs.
For the Cubs. There you go.
Oh, I should read these articles.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're speed running. All right, yeah. One more.
One more. I do have one more, actually. March Madness snubs Spurs governor's ire. The NCAA tournament bracket delivered drama even before the games began. West Virginia University was shockingly left out of the men's field despite 111 of 111 bracketologists projecting the Mountaineers would make it. The omission infuriated West Virginia's governor, Patrick Morrisey, who blasted the, quote, National Corrupt Athletic Association and even threatened legal action. Morrisey announced an investigation into whether the selection committee engaged in any, quote, backroom deals, corruption, bribes, or nefarious activity in determining the bracket. The outburst underscores the chaos and controversy that March Madness sparks, even off court.
So West Virginia
Was
men's basketball record.
Out. Has that started?
The bracket has been officially confirmed. In all fairness, they finished 7th in their conference, and they only had a 19-13 record.
Garbage.
They were 4-7 away, but 13-4 at home. So record-wise, they weren't considered the best in their conference. Granted, the Big East, or the Atlantic Coast Conference, is quite good. It has Houston, Texas Tech, BYU, Arizona, Iowa State, Kansas.
It is interesting for 111 of 111. Bracketologists is like people predicting the bracket.
Yeah.
Getting it wrong. That's a lot to get it wrong.
So there's automatic qualifiers for winning your conference championship tournament. And I believe you automatically qualify if you win the conference regular season. So if you do that across all of the big 5 conferences, that's already 10 teams accounted for. There's 32 teams, 64. How many teams in the bracket? 68 teams in the overall bracket. I mean, it's extremely unlikely for 110 to drop, but there's extenuating circumstances that might exist that might make this happen. I don't know enough because there's so many teams to follow in the NCAA men's basketball.
And that's all.
That's going to be it for the news episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys liked the updates. We're going to try and do news episodes more frequently as we have enough compiled each time. There's been a lot happening in sports, and we'll keep you up to date. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. If you want to accuse us, reddit.com/r/gmfst. You can also give us episode suggestions and share sporting news, especially helping with international news. You can throw that on there. Make sure to use the proper flair. A lot of people have been posting stuff, but not using flares at all. You got to flare it. You got to have flair. Outside of that, go support us. Go to the Discord, Distract-Go. Listen, watch, rewatch, share it with a friend. And if you want to sport some sportly merch, store.gmfst.com. Get it today. Get it now. Get it when you can.
Get it or never get it at all.
Exactly. All right. Bye.
Bye.